Okay, guys, we're just getting started. Just want to make sure that you all can hear me and see me. I don't know how many folks we have on tonight. It's going to be a relatively short call. Just give you a quick update. We thought, for the most part, let me hit my volume because I know we got volume going here.
Okay, guys, we just
There we go. Okay, I'm just doing a mic check.
I can hear you.
Okay, so tonight it's just me. We got me and Colin nowhere on the line.
Good evening, good morning, everybody.
So we thought today that we would have both Colin and John on the line. John wasn't able to make it, so he gave me some information to tell you guys about the proposals, things to put forth, and the activities that they will be engaged in once they put forth a full proposal and you all vote on it. Here, I'll just talk about some of the things that they will be looking to do in the next over the next few months as a part of the LPC Venezuela project. So right now, three main topics for today: bots, the explorers, and the proposal. So it's relatively short. My question is that why the volume and the price went so down. I don't know. It's been up relatively lately compared to where we were. So now we have bots in terms of just being able to maintain our price where we are now, since it was going down, went down almost to like 5-6 cents. So we deployed the bots and we've been consistently around 9 cents or so. Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. Hey Max. Hey Cryptos. So now what we have are, we just have bots that are on primarily operating on Crypto Bridge to be able to somewhat maintain the price action that we have. We have some pilots that are operational with our corporate investors and partners with Lumina. So it's the case that we do have some maintenance going on. So some maintenance of the, or stability of the price at around 9 cents or so. So as you can see, ever since we initiated the bots, we've had a pretty consistent price as compared to when it was just constantly going down. But now we're maintaining the price, and it's actually it's doing pretty well since we've implemented the bots on the platform. We are targeting for this month the 2 exchanges to be able to list by the end of this month. One is Yobit. I don't think I mentioned it to y'all, but you know it now. Yobit, they have a USD fiat trading pair that they'd be able to put us on. We're actually on X Rates, which is a top 50 exchange that has a USD trading pair, but we don't necessarily use it. So I think that exchange will provide us some, hi Paul, how are you doing? Some liquidity and price discovery on Yobit. Yobit is a decent exchange. It's higher than Cryptopia in terms of its volume, and just on Cryptopia, I know that it's coming online pretty soon. They're just updating wallets from what I hear. We also sent over our white hat Naraj to give those guys over there at Cryptopia a hand and just making sure the site is secure. Naraj came on after we listed on Cryptopia, so he didn't have an opportunity to just really jump onto Cryptopia before we went on, just trying to anticipate a question, well, why didn't Naraj jump on Cryptopia before it was hacked? So he wasn't a part of the team then. But now he is a part of the team, and he's interacting with the folks over at Cryptopia, and found some issues that he thought deserved some attention, and he sent that over to those guys. So hopefully they'll be up pretty soon. But for this month, we're targeting Yobit and Bittrex. So that's where we are in terms of exchanges. That's where we are in terms of bots. Once Cryptopia is back up, we'll see if it's stable or in a position where we'll be able to deploy bots on that exchange as well, and also others as we move forward, particularly when we look at Bittrex and resubmitting our application. As I mentioned before, earlier they just said we were a little too young, but they said give us 3 to 6 months and then reapply. So now it's 36 months. It actually is 3 months. I think it was December the 12th when we got that decision from Bittrex. So December the 12th, January the 12th, February the 12th, March the 12th. So it's over 3 months now, and we're resubmitting our application over to Bittrex. And I think we've made a lot more progress since December, considering that we have ATMs that are out available for purchase. We do have partners that are, particularly with Lumina, that's already using LightPay coin in various projects. And one was the rights platform, and the other one also in terms of being able to source for contractors as well, expert source. So those are the two that are in place. I know last week that's the issue that and this is just covering all over at the higher level bots, even though it sounds like I'm just going over a few things. Bots should be bots and exchanges. So we just talked about exchanges and the use of LPC, and the case that we'll make to Bittrex in updating our application to them. But yet we'll look to deploy bots on Bittrex as well if we get listed. So that's where we are. Next one is Explorers. I know we had issues with the Explorers on various exchanges. Excuse me. We had it in general. And then there was Mentos, where he deployed an Explorer, but then it was the case that he said it was some issues that he had in the community. Reached out to Mentos, and it's a pretty decent guy in having a conversation with him. But he had some arguments with some members of the community. Guys, we're family at the end of the day. I know some folks may not necessarily get along, but yet we can still decide that we could carry on in a civil manner in interacting. So my conversation with him was a decent one. So we did have some talk, and at the same time, he said that he's just willing to help out the community ever so often. So it was good to be able to bring him back in the fold, to have some discussions. I don't know if he's going to be very proactive in the community and make an invest and come back in, but it's the case that we're on good terms. So it was the case that we launched 2 Explorers, and if you go out to what was that? What is this? Master Nudes Online. We're operational on what's not mass size. What's this? I'm looking at Master Nudes Online. There we go. So at Master Nudes Online, we were actually earlier in the week, we were taken off or put into maintenance for Master Nodes Online, but it was a case that we didn't have our Explorer up, so it was unable to estimate our market cap. But yet it's the case we have 3,635 nodes, and they needed our Explorer in order to be able to do that update. So let's go back. So we do have, but it's the case the Explorer is still updating. I don't know if is this the old one or the new one that it's going to. Yeah, so this is the new Explorer that we have up. It's still updating, but it's the case that it's providing information that Masternodes Online can use to put up our statistics. So I was able to launch this Explorer to get the coin supply count, to get the Masternode count, and our network difficulty. So it's the case this Explorer is still updating. Same thing with LGS as well. When we do the Search on where's LGS, LGS as well. Logis coin. What is this? It's putting us on blast. LGS. I don't know why that's happening. I'm going to try this one more time. I hate autocomplete. I'm going to exit out autocomplete and click that. So it also has the stats for Logis coin as well. When you talk about in terms of the masternode status, but yet it was taken offline earlier in the week because we didn't have the explorers up. So now we do have the explorers up there updating. So it's the case that we'll I think the long-term solution for our explorers is to get a service that will keep the explorers up regardless of what happened, because Niraj took a look at our explorers and a lot of other communities explorers, and for the most part not building pretty good explorers. We're not building good explorers. Because of this, there's a service that he recommends that looks like we're going to just subscribe to that service, where they're going to keep up a explorer for us, of both for LGS and for LPC. And then I think it's called CoinNet, but yet let me see if I can go to it here. CoinExplorer.net. So this is the service that Niraj had recommended, in addition to the explorers that we already have, but I think this one will be a decent one for us. I'm just going to pick just some random coin, but yet it has all the statistics around it. And for instance, look at the master nodes. It has all the master nodes. It has the rich list. It has the charts available, which I think is great. I don't know if they're providing the information for those charts, but it has like network information, markets. So it'll be able to list all of our markets that we have. So I think this is a relatively good service that we can use as our permanent explorer, in addition to the ones that we already have. But just to keep everything in check for us, I think we should have a very consistent explorer, just in case our explorers go down, because just a review by Niraj of our explorers, and just like I said, just explorers of other coins as well, how they're built, they aren't necessarily the most dependable to use. So this is what we're looking at for the long term, having as our explorer on coinexplorer.net. But that's something that's in progress. We were able to get those up. Hi, Julia. All right, so talked about the bots, talked about the explorers, and now we're record time on proposals. The proposals. Now, I know we mentioned last week being able to put together some masternode budget proposals for the LGS community and for the LPC community, and we wanted to have members. Let me go ahead and get back somewhere reasonable. So I know it made sense that we talk about the proposals that we're putting forth in the community, masternode budget proposals, and we said we're going to put one for the LGS community and for the LPC community. And I invited John and I invited Colin over just to talk a little bit about some of the things that they will be putting forth in their proposals for the community. Give me a quick second. Update to share with relationship with UCF. Just for the most part, they are the relationship is still ongoing. They're building out their program. They have they're in a position where we wrote the letter of support for the University of Central Florida to submit to the Board of Regents for approval of their program. So it looks like they have gotten approval to start building out their courses and then actually admit their first set of students. So as the cohort of students are being brought in, they'll participate with our organization. So it's still early in terms of that program being fleshed out. The master's degree program in financial technology, which is a collaboration of the business school, the College of Business, and the College of Engineering. So that's where we are there. But we're still in contact, still in having we still have some relationship with them, and it's ongoing. But so as we progress, and they're in a position where they're able to do research, case studies with us, we'll begin to pull them into the fold. So back on the proposals. So I invited John, I invited Colin. John wasn't able to make it, but then he did send some summary information. Give me a quick second. Not summary information. He sent some notes, and I won't necessarily dive into the details of it, but it does. It's several things he talked about. Encouraging the use of cryptocurrency, and this is for the Masternode budget proposal for LPC Venezuela. And just for the LPC project in general, since the Masternode budget proposal will be submitted to the LPC community. So one of our main goals within Venezuela is to encourage the use of cryptocurrencies through training, and letting Venezuelans know the advantages of using LPC. Such things as encourage the use of LightPay coin ATMs in Venezuela once they're launched, present to various people the opportunity to invest in LPC as a way to generate extra income, train students from the various universities in the country. As I know, John has relationships with individuals at a couple of universities, but I know there's one that he's spending most of his time where he's actually a student there as well. Promotion in social networks about LightPay Coin project globally and locally. Development of activities in the universities and meeting space, so spread the benefits. So like having meetups across the networks of either just the university networks or just the social general social networks across VZ. Building a team of developers, marketing specialists, and a support team that focuses on the mass adoption of LPC globally and locally. Generate content for the various audiovisual platforms. So this is more on the social media outreach. And then there's the frequent publication of articles related to LPC. Yes, and I've seen that's something that's welcome, considering that the primary channel for communication right now is on the Discord, on Twitter, and on YouTube. So it'd be good to have another team doing some things as well. Open up a market of opportunities for projects already developed by LPC. In the long term, LPC Venezuela seeks to be independent in regards to its economy. So that's one thing. It's just being able to have VZ or the LPC Venezuela team help the Venezuela. So it's Venezuelans helping Venezuelans to build a solid economic foundation through open source cryptocurrency. So we look to be able to support them in that endeavor. So like right now, just to give you all an update, there's some issues with some dual power conflicts, but we won't necessarily get into political consideration, but there have been some slight power outages in the country, and that was one of the concerns about being able to get some of the devs in Venezuela to be able to do some work. John had some issues just communicating with the dev and to get some updates on the LPC website. So let me see where we are. Julia, can someone try to address the issue of nodes? And that's what I have on the proposal coming from John in VZ in Venezuela. So I'll talk to try to address some of the questions. Can someone try to address the issue of nodes going offline randomly and needing to be restarted? Yeah. All right, Chris, that was a question that I got from the community early in the week, and this was primarily as it relates to LGS. There was someone who contacted me and said that the nodes were going offline. Some of the nodes were going offline, and this was happening within a service that was used, and this is my understanding of it so far, that the master nodes were going offline. So one of the things that I asked was, could I see some of the configuration files of the person who was having the issue, and he said he was using a hosting service. And I looked at that particular file, and it only allowed a few connections coming in. So that was a concern for me, just looking at the configuration files. There were some things I suggested that the hosting service do in order to resolve the issue. But if you can, Zarin, send over to me your configuration, not your private keys, but yet everything except your private keys on your configuration file. So I don't know exactly what could be causing the issue, but yet it's the case. I tried some initial troubleshooting based upon the configuration file that I saw for the shared hosting service. I did give the recommendation, but I haven't got feedback on them making an update. So question, do we continue using original Vlad Discord or Adam LPC Discord? As I see the latest webinar wasn't even made announcements in LPC Discord channel. Yeah, and that was probably an oversight on my part, not putting it in the channel. So right now, the thing is making the request to have, because we have total control over the Twitter, GitHub, I think Facebook, the YouTube channel, but the Discord channel. So if it's the case that so we're requesting to get access to, or usernames, passwords to control the Discord channel as well. If it's the case that we're unable to get the control of the Discord channel, then it's the case now that Adam is not active in the LPC LGS Discord channel. I don't know. Perhaps it just makes sense to either stay where we are or just make a new channel where Exchange manages the channel, because Vlad is no longer with the project. Adam is one leg out the door of the project, but not active in the community. So it needs to be the case. There needs to be stability. For me, one of my thoughts is let's begin to just consolidate where we put all our messaging. So that's where I am, and I think if we have like a Twitter channel where information is constantly being disseminated, let that be the channel. It's much less maintenance for us to maintain like 4 or 5 different channels. So that's just my thought. Has marketing started with Venezuela project, or is the team waiting for a decision on the merger? The issue on the marketing, no, marketing has not started, just long story short. Hello, Damon, we need to gather the community into certain single channel. We get people ran up through 3 channels. Yeah, and that's my point. Being able to have one official channel, I don't think, if we're unable to gain control of both LGS, LPC, the old channels, then making one channel that we control, where, like I said, Adam is not necessarily maintaining that community. So building one channel gives us a sense of unity, and at the same time one place where we can communicate information. And this is from Laya as well. Can you give a roadmap of our community for the next 6 months? For the next 6 months, our goal is to be able to list on 3 exchanges, 3 major exchanges, and I mentioned 2 of those earlier. Yobit, which is a top 75 exchange. Bittrex, we applied to them earlier. We applied to them in December. They told us to come back in 3 months. It's 3 months now, so we're resubmitting that application. And to Binance. It's the case that we have not heard from Binance from our initial submission. Bittrex, they told us to come back. And Yobit, it's the case that we just need to pay our listing fee, and we're on. So in the other 2, there's no listing fee, but they just need to evaluate our project. So those are the 3 exchanges in terms of market penetration, having a full-out marketing team to be able to gather unit economics around the 2 different, well, 3 services that we have launched. The 2 right now, ATMs, being able to build a unit economic model around that. Build a unit economic model around the ATMs, and then build a unit economic model around the exchange platform itself. So those are the 3 things that I see from the LPC perspective over the next 3 to 6 months. Getting on those 3 exchanges, having fully built out unit economic models. That is, how much does it cost for us to acquire a customer or sell an ATM or a point of sale device, or the exchange service, say, to a particular project coming on board into the exchange platform. Those are the 3 things that I see doing for the next several months. Even though we haven't, given the issues that we haven't had the opportunity to even push out the soft beta version of Exchange. So it's getting stability around, considering the personnel changes that we've had, getting those Exchange, the soft part, the soft launch out. So now we have a software offering, hardware offering in point of sale, hardware offering in ATMs. So that's what it really looks like in the next 3 to 6 months. Having the websites updated as well, having the chains in place as well. Correct. Stability, correct. One Discord, I agree 100%. Quest, I'll try to answer this question, then I'll turn it over to Colin. Since the Venezuelan government supports BTC and LTC payments, it launched a new crypto remittance platform. This has no consequence on LPC and LGS to enter that market. So from what I understand, crypto's quest is that the Venezuelan government is pro cryptocurrency. They have not outlawed any cryptocurrencies entering into the market. They have declared themselves as a cryptocurrency country. That remittance service I read about it. So the remittance service, it doesn't, in my opinion, have an impact on what LPC or LGS will do in that community. So it depends on what the people, or what the LGS and the LPC Venezuelan team, what they're able to do on the ground. That is, getting the adoption at a grassroots level, doing the training, going out to the various businesses, showing them how to use point of sale devices. Going out and showing them how to use the exchange platform. So it's getting that adoption at the grassroots level. So they have not banned any cryptocurrency, so it doesn't necessarily prevent us from operating in the country and doing what we are proposing to do. So, and right now we see them as one of the more crypto-friendly countries in the world, like one of the first cryptocurrency countries that's operating, that's attempting to adopt their own cryptocurrency as the sovereign currency. So that's all that I have right now in terms of the bots. Yes, the bots are still in place. The operating price has been stabilized around 9 cents. We're targeting, as I mentioned before, for this month, really 2 exchanges. Won't necessarily hear from one immediately, but then we'll Yobit is just for us completing the listing exchange fee. And then for explorers, we have 2 explorers out supporting the new explorers for LGS, LPC. For the long term, we're pushing those over to the service on coinexplorer.net, and I think that will give us some stability and not having to worry about maintaining explorers ever again, considering that we have a light load. With the proposals, John and Colin, John wasn't able to attend, but at the same time he did give an update in terms of some of the things that he wanted to be able to do in submitting his masternode budget proposal. And that's actually a responsibility that John is actually doing himself, getting the dev team together that will serve as LPC and LBC Venezuela dev team. And Julia, let me explain that. Her question was, has the dev team been sourced? And if so, has staking masternode reward structure been adjusted to fund this? And let me explain how our both LPC and LGS blockchains work. So it's the case that there's, if you look at, I want to be able to put it here, say this being the beginning, 0 LPC, this being the end, say 21 million. So right now we have 21 million total from beginning to end LPC that can be distributed. The way that our blockchain is structured is that when you look from phase 0 to phase 53, phase 0 to phase 53 goes from 0 LPC to approximately 16, 17 million LPC. I don't know the exact number, but it's about 16 million LPC. So it goes from 0 to 16 million LPC. That's what pays out on the phase 0 to phase 53. After the phase 53, then it's the case that you set, each of the masternode owners will be able to set their fees to be able to charge how much it will take for individuals to transmit funds across the network. There's about 4.5, 5 million LPC that isn't in the blockchain or included within the masternode and staking wallets rewards. So going from 0 to around that 16 million, it's the case that the reward structure that you see will not change. It stays fixed. There's, like I said, I mentioned before, it's about 4 million or so LPC and LGS, because that's the way their blockchain is structured as well, where there's funds that can be used for projects, and projects like maintaining the dev team, maintaining a marketing team, listing on an exchange. I've been educating myself on this, and I've come to be aware of it. And I know Colin and we've had lots of meetings on this so far, and lots of discussions around it, is being able to submit masternode budget proposals. That roughly 4 million is for treasury to be used that can be allocated towards projects. And that can be done through masternode budget proposals. So when masternode budget proposals are put out to the community votes on those, the community votes on those projects, and once those votes come through and they're approved, then it roughly, they're paid out in what we call super blocks. So if you're not aware of what super blocks are, you can do a quick Google search. Super blocks is when funds that come from that roughly 4 million roughly 4 million LPC, it's taken out of that treasury and allocated toward the approved projects by the community. Hey Jim, how are you? So that that treasury is around 4 million LPC, about 4 million LPC / LGS. So it's the case that members can put forth masternode budget proposals that are voted on, and when they are approved, then it's the point that those funds are paid out of that treasury and not out of the masternode and staking node payment schedules that you see from 0 to 53. So that's where the additional funds come from, and the blocks, I'll say it now, the blocks will not be adjusted. So the blocks won't be adjusted in any way. So it's the case that treasury sits there. But if it's the case that we don't put in any budget proposals, and those budgets, those finalized budgets aren't approved, then those funds won't be allocated. They'll just sit in the blockchain. So they won't even be generated. But yet, just know it's around 4 million or so LPC / LGS that will be paid out on super blocks. And the way they're paid out on super blocks is through approved masternode budget proposals. So first there's a vote, and there's a thumbs up, and then there's a final masternode budget vote on and that happens roughly each month. So budgets can be put forth for each month, and we're still trying to get the exact amount that each of the budgets can be, each project can be done. But yet, that's
Hey,
what I
Dan, can I jump in
understand.
there when you finished?
Say again?
Let me jump in when you finish here.
Sure. All right. And roughly that's it.
Yeah, so let me add on to this a second, because this is a very important topic, and what Damon and I are doing is two things, right? Identifying how much funds we'll need periodically to run the business, and also understanding how is that super block payout made. One concern we have, one thing we're looking at, is how much funds are allocated per proposal per super block, because of course these are funds that are needed, which means that once those funds are paid out, those funds more than likely are going to be converted out of LPC, out of LGS. So we want to make sure that we can do this without impacting the price. So we're doing a lot of research now to understand how proposals work within the blockchain, how that super block is paid out, and what's the best method of doing that. Also, as Damon said, it is a set amount that is allocated or set aside over the duration of the phases. Right now, our goal is to do what we can to build the price up. If you have 4 million LPC, roughly 4 million LPC, 4 million LGS, we want those, each and every one, to be valued higher, so that when we are getting the budget, we're able to procure more services. So that's something we're working on. Now, let me take a step back and say hello to everybody. I'm very glad that we were able to change the times for the webinars. As most of you may know, I am located in Shanghai, China. So previously, webinars were around midnight my time, so not able to join. So now I'm glad I'm able to join on a consistent basis. So getting back to the budget conversation, as Damon did share, I am working on the LGS budget. And to be honest with you guys, we're working on both projects, LGS and LPC. We're making sure that for Damon and John are working on LPC, myself LGS, making sure that we do have a budget that supports our roadmap going forward over the next 3, 6 to 9 months. So some of the things that we are working on, one, Damon talked about what I call the online platform changeover.
Hey Colin, you just went silent. Let me see. Your connection you just went mute. I'm going to see if I can either unmute you or just bring you back on. Because you're in China, he has to connect through the Great Firewall to China. Yeah, we've lost Colin. There he is.
Hello. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys.
All right, cool.
My VPN conked out. Where did I leave off, Dan? What's up for you guys, right?
I kind of lost you there. I was trying to respond to someone in the comment section.
Okay, well, let me just go through some of the activities that we are working on right now. The first one is our online platform changeover. As you guys are aware of, we have had changes to our website, to our Explorer, to several different pieces of content for LPC and LGS. Due to the changeover in our founders as well, when we reach out to our various exchanges or various sites that have our content, we have to, in some cases, reestablish relationships. Right now, the admin or the person providing them information was one of the previous co-founders. So we have to go through what you call a new authentication protocol to ensure that the changes we're proposing are actually from the business. So that's one of the activities we're working on. Also, working on complementary service partnerships. This week, I am meeting with a vendor who has a very interesting multi-currency wallet available. And this is helpful because, as you guys know, our ATMs, right, are multi-currency. We want to ease the burden of we don't want our potential customer having to have 4 or 5 different wallets. We want them to have a single wallet. So, working on relationships with wallet vendors. Also, continuing our move to try to get into e-gaming. We've been talking with several e-gaming platforms and vendors, I would say for about 3 months now, trying to find the sweet spot for us to be able to work together. So a lot of activity is taking place in which we're trying to find or trying to move LPC, trying to ease the barrier and burden for our potential customers. Also, trying to find additional ways for LPC and LGS to move from that store of value and go into more utility, right? Finding online retailers, finding brick and mortar retailers that will actually allow customers to use the coin to purchase goods and services. And quite frankly, that's something that just about every cryptocurrency team is trying to do right now, establish those relationships. So we're trying to establish those relationships as well. Now, in both cases, we have to make sure that we're making it incentivized for, one, the customer to say, I want to use LPC to purchase this good, and for the vendor to say, I want to offer my goods and services for sale using LPC. So we're still working on what those incentive programs are. I think Damon talked earlier about the ATM and point of sales. We're still working to find out what is, again, I'll say the sweet spot, right? What's our best pitch to people who want to purchase the ATMs and point of sales, understanding what's the best package for them from a standpoint of allowing them to have good support, allowing them, again, to have an incentive of having that hardware in the store, incentive of using the point of sales. So again, these are programs that are ongoing. Some of these are not directly tied to a budget. For example, developing the brand ambassadors. As you guys know, it's very important that we have brand ambassadors scattered, I would say scattered globally. We're doing a lot of work now with the Venezuela team. Now, the Venezuela team is a little bit more than just brand ambassadors, because they're actually looking to form what we call a Venezuela LPC chapter, but making sure we have brand ambassadors that are capable and have the tools to really promote and market LPC. So we're using the Venezuela site as, you can say, a testing ground for putting together a template for growing that program. And finally, our community build out. As Damon said, right now we are on several online platforms. We're trying to identify, for right now, what are the best platforms for us to be able to self-manage. We know that there are numerous platforms where our community can get questions answered, can share their information. But right now, we may not be able to manage all of those effectively. So if we need to reduce that, what's the best way to do that? So those are some activities we're working on. I'll be giving more updates and more details going forward. In the meantime, if you guys need to get a hold of me, I am in Discord. My handle is CCT pound #, right? 9135. I think I'm the only CCT out there. Any questions, please just get to me directly. So that's all that I have. Again, I don't have I don't have the YouTube thing here, so I can't see if there are any questions. But again, email me directly or contact me directly, and I'll get back to you. Thanks, Damon.
Yeah, and I'm just looking in the chat, and I don't see any questions from you, or actually from the chat. So except OTC sales from Chris Zarens. That may be a possibility at some point if to do with the Masternode budget proposals, but it's the case we have to have an amount saved up to be able to do OTC. And just to give an update around just what I've been just noticing ever since we've deployed the bots, and we have been making some of the changes and updates. A lot of the LPC has been consumed from the market. When we started deploying the bots, we had around 100,000 LPC that were on various exchanges at any one point in time. So about 100,000 LPC being sold, and that's just from the LPC perspective. But then once we deployed the bots, it's the case now after the week and a half, it's around 35, 40 40,000-ish. So we reduced the amount of coins on the market by about 50% by deploying the bots. So the currency is getting more and more scarce on the market. So and the shape of the distributions are changing in terms of the buy distribution and the sell distributions. So there's a shift that's happening in terms of the impact that we're seeing that the bot's happening, that the bot is having on the exchange and our action. So for the most part, guys, that's all that we have. We thank you for the time. We'll give you more updates as they happen, and when it comes out, just be sure you'll be the first to know. I'll make sure to post the announcements in the next channel, in the LPC Discord channel as well, until we actually decide just what we're going to do. But we're just trying to get control of the OGS LPC Discord, the old Discords, and then manage those accordingly. And then or unless Adam comes back, and then we'll decide what we're going to do. But for the most part, thanks for tuning in. Yeah. And you can send your questions to me on the Discord.
All right, bye, guys.
Thanks. Hold on.